Welcome to another match preview, where after a break from the action from both sides due to the FA Trophy, the Stones have their longest trip of the season, all the way down to a new ground as they visit top of the table, Truro City. Quick word on the last Stones fixture, that Aveley away win, Nigel. We were both there, enjoyed it very much more than we did back in February at least. The main Stones headlines would of course be a first away clean sheet in 2 months since the Worthing game, now unbeaten in 12 in the league overall, that unbeaten away record that we share with Liverpool across those top 6 tiers. So lots of good signs, Nigel, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and we said it on the hot take, didn't we? It was a good, competent performance, and again, like we said, you've got to go. If you've got title ambitions or playoff ambitions, you've got to go to places like Avery and overcome that, haven't you? Because obviously they play the game on a Monday evening, which is, after it's a different night to be playing, is it? Well, so it's just out of the players' routine. You go there, a hostile crowd. You got the bench in your ear. It's just we just managed the game really well. I think we, got a goal first half. But what was pleasing for me was we didn't sit back on that. We got that second, we got a penalty to sort of add to our lead before half time. Obviously, unfortunately, Stancorn didn't convert that. But again, even in the second half, we came out and we didn't really give Aveley a sniff, really, did we?
Exactly, the positivity was still there.
Yeah, of course it was. We was on the front foot, and we, Ben Brooks come off the bench and literally first touch put that peach of a ball in for Greenwich. Like you said as well, it's just something off the training ground. It's now we just don't see this fruition sort of come good now, haven't we? And all the training and it's all there. It's all sort of coming into play, and you can see where our sort of daytime training model sort of is starting to sort of have an effect on the teams, and we're actually getting points now for our performances. There was a lot. We've had a few performances this season where we've basically snatched a draw from the draws of victory, haven't we? Sometimes, and it's sort of like it's frustrating because when you wasn't seeing that climbing up the table, but you can sort of now sort of seeing the points starting to reflect the performance, and it's all good signs, isn't it?
So a brief FA Trophy info dump for those of you who want to know it, despite our lack of participation. 11 sides remain from National League South, only 6 progressed. Avery were knocked out by Barnet, Slough beat Maidenhead, Worthing lost on pens to Gosport, Hampton and Richmond eased past #United, #winning. Boreham Wood knocked out Eastbourne Borough, Lowly Enfield lost at Sittingbourne, #local. Torquay through against our conquerors Horsham, Salisbury through at Chesham's expense. Those last 2 winners are one step closer to rearrange Gallagher Tuesdays under the lights in the next year. And Weymouth's win at Yeovil means our game on Saturday the 4th of January at Weymouth will now be moved to a Tuesday, some point in January. More news on that as we get it. So a quick word on November's Player of the Month, Mr. Papadopoulos, of course. He sealed the deal with his performances and stonking hits against Bath and Eastbourne. Nigel, a fully deserved and new winner of this month's award.
He's really settled into the club now, and he's become a sort of a bit of a fan's favourite, isn't he? And that's reflected in the result. And when you're banging in goals like he's been doing and the all-round performances, that's obviously going to help, isn't it? So like I say, it's good that it's a new winner. He shares it around a little bit, but fully deserved.
So to Truro and the comings and goings since last we played them here in our home league opener back in August. Levi Ando joined on loan last month from York City. Where else, of course? He's a tinner until at least the 2nd of January, having already been on loan at Darlington in National League North early this season. Another defender, Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain, was already on a 3-month loan with Truro. That's been extended till the end of January. He scored in the reverse fixture back in August. Tavonga Kuleya was on loan from Doncaster Rovers, but he was recalled last week after 9 substitute appearances for the Tinners. Farron Simons was signed in September after leaving Derby County in the summer, but he was immediately loaned out to Tiverton Town. Scott Burgess signed non-contract terms at the end of August, having previously played for Ascot at Macclesfield in the 17-18 season. Pharrell Johnson is another defender. He's on loan from Swindon. And Saidu Sanogo broke his leg during training back in September, so won't be seen on Saturday. And all of us here at Maidstone hoping his recovery is progressing well. So Nigel, gone through quite a few names there that haven't really seemed to stick by the sound of things. Not too many additions to their squad technically. So Askey feeling he's had a good blend from the off this season.
Yeah, and we said it in the preview back in the summer, didn't we? That Askey's a good manager. He's won this league. He won the National League with Macclesfield, took them up into the Football League, didn't he? He's managed in the Football League. I think he's been at Port Vale, if I remember rightly, after the Macclesfield taking him up, and then again he took York up from National League North, and you can't underestimate that achievement, because York had been languishing down in the North for like a few seasons before he went in there, and there's been a lot of pressure on him to take him up, and they wasn't one of the highest or placed teams in the playoffs that year. They went up, and he took them up after finishing, I think, 5th or 6th. I think they were 5th in that league, and managed to get them up with that late run into the playoffs, and then carried that momentum through. And again, it's very similar to like the project that he's got at Truro, because York have moved into a new ground, and it's like anything, isn't it? You start winning games, and that stadium will fill up pretty quickly. And they've had a few Truro this season. They've had a few sort of 2,800 plus crowds already this season. I think they're only just sitting behind us in the overall average for the season. So you add to that, Askey in charge of them, a new stadium bounce, and we saw that when we came back to Gallagher in 2012. Our average gates went up from sort of like 600-700 to 1,500 plus. So that's definitely a thing, and you've got to remember as well that they've been starved of football down in Rivalry. They're the Premier team in Cornwall, and they've been playing at 180 miles away in Gloucester and Taunton, wherever their nomadic existence they've been for the last few years. So they're just glad to have the team back, and you add to that, you've got Askey as an experienced manager, big crowds. They've obviously got the budget as well, because they're I think they've got some American owners or some investors over there as well. So they're getting players in. All those players that you mentioned that are coming on loan, they're not from local teams. No. They're from Derby and Doncaster and York and previous players he's had at Macclesfield. So you're going to have to pay a location fee from that, and then you've got probably the best striker in the league, in Tyler Harvey as well, who again scored in the reverse fixture here at the Gallagher, that last minute goal to win them the points here. So I definitely don't. Some people are sort of saying that they're going to sort of fall away, but there's no evidence of it, and they've got the backing. You think if they do get an injury or they do get suspension, they can just go out and use Askey's little black book and get players in, and they've got the money to relocate these players. So I think they're definitely up there on merit. At this stage of the season, you're not going to not be up there on merit, but I think they're going to last the course. Like you say, they've got the best striker in the league. He's leading the race for the Golden Boot. And he was consistent last year as well, wasn't he? We mentioned him in the preview in the summer. He's kind of like an Ollie Pearce Mark II, isn't he? People sort of say, where is he just sort of like a one-trick pony or one-season wonder, sort of doing it at this level? But you see with Ollie Pearce, if you're a goal scorer, and you're a goal scorer wherever you go. You know what I mean? So again, Ollie Pearce has transferred that up into the next level, and he's now leading the Golden Boot race in the National League. And similar to Macaulay Langstaff, Gateshead had that season at Gateshead, then went up, got his transfer to Notts County, and just carried on, and look where he is now, he's down the Championship at Swansea, or Millwall, wherever he is. So it's they've got a good side there, and if you underestimate it, I think it's going to be our biggest test.
So the key men so far this season for Truro, Dan Lavercombe has 12 clean sheets at Taunton last season. He's only had 4 so far thus far this season, a surprise for the best defence in the league, but they have only conceded more than once in the league this season, and that was on opening day. So clearly got a very strong defence, but not too good on the clean sheets. He's played every league minute so far this season, so he's always on the team sheet, listed dependable. Another one, Jay's Cabia, is important to them. He's scored 11 goals in 15 starts this season, having signed in the summer, and he's complemented well with the already aforementioned Tyler Harvey. He's got 14 in 19 starts so far this season, carrying on where he left off last, and he's also signed a multi-year deal with Truro mere days after he visited the Gallagher in August. He was National League South October's Player of the Month. He was Truro's top scorer in each of their last 3 seasons. He's likely to make it 4 this season. Nigel, is there a danger that the Stones, and us potentially up here, focus too much on Harvey and he gets others into the game potentially?
I think so. I think you know, the scouting networks and the videos that are available nowadays, I think, you know, them players were in that squad in August, weren't we? We played them on Bank Holiday Monday or the end of August there. So, you know, I don't think that's the case. I think, you know, the stats speak for themselves, don't they? You know, the stats back up what the rest of the league know, that Tyler Harvey's a good player, but, you know, Kepa's there as well, isn't he, on merit? You know, he's up there. When you've got 2 strikers in the top 5 scorers in the league, you're always going to be doing well, aren't you? So, yeah, no, I don't think so. I think, again, we're going to have to be on our mettle, and you're going to have to be wary. But like I said, there's enough footage around there that it's I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, and like I said in previous videos as well, you know, at the stage of the season now, you've got to have your game plan in place as well. So we've had the recent addition of Matt Rush coming in and Solwander Smith coming back. So again, we're going to ask questions of them, isn't it?
That's what I was going to ask you, Nigel, because when I mentioned at the top of that little segment there, with them only conceding more than 1 goal in the league on opening day at home, and they've not conceded more than 1, they've only had 4 clean sheets overall. You do wonder, with the game plan we had against Aveley, we stayed on the front foot. The best form of defence is attack. Do you think that we could test Lavercombe? I'm not going to say he's a weak point to the side, because clearly he's done very well to keep those 4 clean sheets and only concede 1 in pretty much every other game. So you think, there's certainly some hope in there for the Stones.
God, yeah, definitely. I don't think there's anyone we should be fearing in this league. We're a big enough club in our own right to be competing, and like I said there at the top of the preview, we're now starting to sort of get our patterns of play in place. We've got our combinations set. You look at the match day lineup that George named when he named his team at 2 o'clock. There's not that many changes now. They're pretty much settled 11. You can't beat that. So I'm envisaging a very good game. I think it's going to be sort of like two good teams going at each other. It could be the proverbial 0-0 and both teams shut up shop, but I don't think that would be the case. I think again, we've said it again in previous previews, but you see this time of year, especially around Christmas, a lot of sort of weird results, don't you?
The old Boxing Day 1953 results.
Yeah, exactly that.
7-4
even in the last couple of years when we've been in the National League South, Dorking Hampton Waterlooville comes to mind. That's 7-0 or 7-1. Then on the reverse fixture, haven't turned it round, and I think they got a draw that year. But I know that's not in place this year. That then back-to-back fixtures, but you still sort of see them strange results in this time of year, don't you?
So one of those good sides, Truro, we've mentioned their form since last we played. They've had 18 league games, 10 wins, 3 1-0 defeats against Bath, Eastbourne and Boreham Wood. The Tinners were dumped out at the first hurdle in both major cup competitions, losing at home to Brackley Town in the FA Cup and away at Torquay in the FA Trophy. They've played 11 at home in all competitions so far this season, 7 wins, 3 defeats. Askey asked for the new ground to become a fortress after they lost the opener to Dorking, and they haven't started badly there with those numbers, have they, Nigel?
No, exactly that. And like we said, Askey's an experienced manager. He knows what it takes to get promotion. So, not started badly at all, really, and they're going great guns. I think, I can't think anyone down there would be too unhappy, especially this last season. I know they had that backlog of games where they were like, the tail end of the season, they was like playing 3-4 times a week. But they stayed in the league in their first season back, and that's the important thing. And they're reaping the rewards of that, and gone into a new stadium in National League South, and they're getting the crowd through the door to back it up. So
dare I say, you could potentially compare it to Leicester's title winning season, because I think from memory they won 7 out of their last 9 or 10 in the Premier League to stay up the season before, and then the proverbial, they managed to keep that form going for the rest of the next season. So
exactly that. You can't underestimate form and that feel good factor. If every club had it, you can bottle it up and sell it, but it's just all them ingredients that are put together. And, you've got the backing of the owners, you've got an experienced manager, you've got, like I say, best striker in the league, and you're getting big crowds. So it's definitely a game that I think, we've done well away from home. We've beaten the sides that, were meant to be up there with us in the Dorkings, Bournemouth, and not beaten them, but I've got a point against Dorking, Bournemouth and Torquay. But this, I think, is going to be our biggest test because, that Christmas Day crowd, that sort of Christmas sort of time crowd, they're all going to be in jovial mood, and we are a big team in this league. So, that shouldn't be underestimated. They're going to be up for it, and their fans are going to be up for it because they want to see the big sides coming down, don't they? It's all right when the Enfields and Averleys and that, no disrespect, don't take many fans down there. Maybe the impact will be too close to Christmas that you might not get the travelling numbers that you would normally, but it's still a big club, so they can market that game and they get a big crowd in. And I think I've already seen that they've put out some offers for, like, if you buy your tickets online before Saturday, you get a special deal, and that they're putting like things on at the ground.
Big old Christmas theme.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good game, as I say, and I don't think the Stones will take it lightly, and hopefully we keep that unbeaten run going.
I've got my name on a Yorkshire pudding wrap, and the man behind the camera is rubbing his tummy at the thought of that as well. So you'll see a photo of me from hell and me chomping on that at some point, I'm sure. Probably best viewed on the podcast. So Nigel, quick point, a Stones squad may feel like they owe Truro a result after the home game at the start of the season, as well as it being the league leaders. There's a bit of goading on the socials I saw as well in the week before the return game, as they referenced their best home performance from the last season being that 3-0 win over the Stones, so they might owe them doubly for the last two games now.
Again as well, and also you have to think back, what was it, 2014, 15-16 season when we first went up to the National League. We actually beat them in the two-legged playoff, didn't we? I mean, it was a two-legged playoff. And
back in the day,
it's certainly history there, and a little bit of a rivalry. So why would you not play on that? These days of social media, likes and content and that, you're going to put out your better performances, aren't you? You're not going to put out when you get dicked 5-0. So exactly, bring it on.
So if you can't remember all of the players from the last meeting, then why not head back to our previous preview video and podcast of this season for more information on Saturday's opponents. The links to the video and podcast are both in the description below. So if you can't make it to the game on Saturday, because it's a long way away, be sure to tune in to myself and Adrian Sharp from 240 on Stones Live. So that long unbeaten league run may well be under threat come Saturday's trip to Truro, but if the Stones want to be back in amongst those playoff spots, and maybe even more, it's another test they need to pass. And really, as we've already said, really looking forward to what promises to be a great game at the weekend. Our thanks, as always, to you for watching or listening to the latest preview. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Maidstone United podcast. See or hear you for our next preview ahead of the rearranged Salisbury away league game on Tuesday. And as always,
come on, you Stones!